We are back in the new year with Stephanie Dobson. Stephanie is a lawyer and mediator here in Lloydminster, and this is another episode of Healthy, Thriving Family After Divorce. Stephanie, January was International Divorce Month. We just kind of passed that point. We're in February now, but tell me about the month.
Yeah, so January is dubbed International Divorce Month because for divorce professionals, it's a month where we see a huge spike in families around the world who are deciding to embark on a separation or divorce. And as a lot of our viewers know, I have a particular passion for talking with families, informing them, and helping them to learn more about divorce. So despite COVID having gotten in our way of our January episodes, I thought we could still capture the education part of Divorce Month. So for today, I've created a top 3 tips for what viewers can consider if they're looking into separation or divorce.
Okay, and we will start with your first tip, Stephanie, which is make sure you get as much information as you can, get informed prior to separating or divorcing.
Yeah, so hopefully we've caught people before necessarily they've decided to separate, but what you'll find is that once the ball starts rolling into the separation or divorce, decisions often need to be made rather quickly, and sometimes without really having an opportunity to really fully think through everything. So I've got 3 things you might want to think about to get yourself informed. First, start learning about how your family finances work. You may be the financial manager of the family, or you may really have no idea what assets or debts you have, where you have bank accounts. With our clients, we have a checklist. So we start helping people to help them to gather things. And usually, if you haven't made that decision to separate, it's easier to not really have a deadline to start gathering those documents. Second, you may want to look for some online resources. Of course, the web is full of information about separation or divorce. So there's 2 ideas here that I have for you for online education. The first one is called the Parenting After Separation course. So this is a mandatory course for most parents who are separating or divorcing, both in Alberta and Saskatchewan. So have a look into that. It's an online resource. Another one is a lot of people will be familiar with my e-learning platform called Healthy, Thriving Family After Divorce. So that's hosted by my company called Up a Notch Learning. Lots of different ways to learn on there. You can check it out at upanotchlearning.com or go to our Henka Divorce website under our resources section, or even on YouTube. So the third way, my suggestion to get informed is to have a consultation with a lawyer, just to help you to get a little bit of more information to get you prepared before you start making some decisions.
And tip number 2, Stephanie, is to think short-term first. Tell me about that.
Well, it's best, certainly when you're just embarking on separation, is to avoid those long-term permanent decisions. So there's really 2 short-term decisions to be made, or topics. First is parenting. So we know that kids do best with stability, routine, and consistency. So you may need to start talking with the kids about the separation, but also with your co-parent, is to start planning your parenting schedule. So on our website, we have tons of resources for you to help plan your parenting schedule on your own, or people might be familiar with our workbook that we use to help people with those initial decisions. And on the finances, get familiar with, of course, as I said earlier, your monthly bills, but you'll have to plan as you move from one household into 2 as to who's going to pay for what in the short term.
And your final tip for today, Stephanie, is to take your time before going into the separation and divorce process. And why is that?
Well, it's really hard once you start throwing around the big D word, the divorce word. It's really hard to take that back. So make sure that it's what you want. So I've got a couple of books. I love reading about different ways and approaches to thinking through separation and divorce. So I've got 2 suggestions for you, our viewers here today. So the first one is called The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. And the title of this book tells it all. It's about how to make it work, not necessarily about how to give up. So it encourages the reader to look at how you conduct yourself in your relationship, and it helps you to be part of the solution as opposed to part of the problem. So the second one is called Too Good to Leave, Too Bad to Stay. So this book is really about getting off the fence. It's about getting out of that relationship ambivalence and deciding to either stay or to go. And if you decide to stay, stay and be happy. If you decide to go, make that decision and go on forward. I love these 2 books, so hopefully they'll be helpful to our viewers.
Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. It's great to speak with you again. First time here in the new year, and we'll be back to chat with you next week.
You bet. Thanks, Stacey.